What you don't know about the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages were not only a war or a tumultuous situation, but also the existence of a collapsed economy, for example. Until then we have faced many dark eras in the past under bar. Let us now study that. Violence and bloodshed. The fall of the Western Roman Empire was largely due to the invasion of the German barbarians and their violent seizure of power. This happened in the 5th century. The barbarians invaded the empire not because of the bitterness of Rome, but because they were jealous of her vast material wealth. The breakup of this invading empire and the shrinking of the tax base would be a devastating blow to Rome's power and reputation. It was difficult for Rome to maintain a trade union without an adequate tax base. Historian Peter Brown believes that these invasions were indeed a peaceful abode between the Romans and the barbarians. This would have come as a surprise to the people directly affected by the chaos. The reality is that the invasions were largely offensive and disruptive to those who lived through them. When besieged by the Roman tribes in 410, the Romans resorted to murderous methods to avoid starvation. The violence and destruction of the barbaric colony affected every part of the empire more than any other. The violence in Gaul lasted for nearly a century. It ended in the 6th century with the replacement of the Burgundy and Frankish kingdoms by the imperial government. Most of the empire suffered. The Dark Ages are not an isolated phenomenon, they affected many parts of the Roman Empire. However, not everywhere experienced simultaneous decline, and no similar level of decline was observed. North Africa, northern and central Italy, and Britain declined centuries before the Aegean world. In the case of Britain, the decline was particularly severe. The Romano-Celtic civilization that once flourished on the island almost disappeared, and its inhabitants were brought back to a prehistoric existence. By the 7th century, with the exception of Constantinople and the Levant, which continued to prosper under Arab-Muslim rule, all areas under the former imperial administration were in a state of catastrophe. The decline of economic complexity.
Anti-dollars are like an exotic form of currency. Actually, they've only ever existed in bank vaults for like a fraction of a second, because when dollars and anti-dollars come together, they annihilate each other, leaving a $0 balance. No, that's not how the economy works.
The disappearance of a significant economic complex that led to the end of prosperity throughout the empire is strong evidence of widespread decline. This modernity of Roman production and the distribution of high-quality goods benefited many inhabitants of the empire. In the 5th century, political conflicts and barbaric invasions by the Romans almost completely destroyed the regional economies, putting an end to the complexity. The disappearance of complexity was by no means uniform. There is some inter-regional variation. By the 400s, this economic complexity had begun to decline in the west. By 600, the eastern Mediterranean Sea was affected, with the exception of the Levant. Britain has experienced the worst decline in economic complexity, sinking below the Roman Iron Age. Europe did not see the same level of modern technology that existed in the Roman era, until sometime between the 13th and 15th centuries. Deterioration of clay pots. The earliest evidence of Roman decline is found in the study of pottery. These pottery products, which have not returned to the West for centuries, have three characteristics: their excellent quality and standardization, mass production, and widespread geographical distribution. High-quality Roman pottery was found not only among the rich, but also among the poor. By the post-Roman period, these three features were no longer in evidence. All the innovations in the manufacture and trade of pottery went backwards and almost disappeared in some parts of Britain and Spain. The overall quality of Roman pottery has dropped, and it is no longer basic and practical. The volume of pottery in circulation was significantly reduced, and its geographical distribution was increasingly limited by large manufacturing centers, such as Roman North Africa. Deterioration of metalworking. Recent evidence from the ice sheets of Greenland suggests that large-scale production operations existed during the Roman era. By reconstructing the history of air pollution from ice cores, researchers have determined that the smelting of lead, copper, and silver was quite widespread in ancient times. Research shows that this metalwork has declined significantly, returning to prehistoric or post-Roman levels. It did not return to the Roman level until the 16th to 17th centuries, near the beginning of the industrial. What do you think is the darkest era? Comment below. If you want to watch more videos like this, click on the subscribe button and click on the bell next to it.